Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Let's talk week one of college football. Thursday, a beautiful day. Um, First lock hit, that would have been Tennessee minus 33 and a half. We teased it. They win 59-10. How did I come up with it? Well, Ball State was an E team. They kind of had a weak defense and they didn't score a lot. They had a new quarterback. Tennessee, on the other hand, is in a very explosive over team, but they're not an A team, but they are an over team. So what I liked is a team that scores a lot at home against a team that really doesn't score that much and doesn't have that really killer defense, which none of the teams in the MAC have. So made for a very good bet, exactly what I thought would happen. I thought they'd score, I don't know, at least in the 40s and obviously not a lot for Ball State. Then I had the Oklahoma State Central Michigan game over, as Central is a very explosive team and good over team. I was a little worried with Oak State with the good defense, and they're an A team, but they scored a lot. But Central was able to put up 44 on them, 58-44 over 58. Again, the number was very attainable. West Virginia Pitt 38-31. Very tough game. It's a rivalry game. Penn State beat Purdue 35-31. I like Purdue as the home dog. Purdue I knew would score, and Penn State I wasn't sure of, and now they both look like over teams. Louisiana Tech, Missouri, two over teams playing. Over-under was only 59, and Missouri got there by themselves, 52-24. In the Minnesota game, I called the score 38-0 on last video. The spread was 38. I said, I'll probably win 38-0. I knew they wouldn't. First of all, with their defense, I knew New Mexico State wasn't going to score. And then can Minnesota score 56 points? Had the game under. Didn't trust Minnesota laying 38, but Minnesota, got there. Yesterday, Michigan State scored a late touchdown to get the win. Duke polished Temple. Again, Temple is a very bad Z team. Duke has switched to a quarterback who's kind of an option quarterback. So but he was a good thrower and he got running yards. And then Illinois, Indiana, I think Indiana wins 13-10 or 23-20 in a game where here's where you get in trouble. Illinois beats Wyoming at home by 30 points. Oh, they're going to go win in Indiana. And they didn't. They lost the game to Indiana, who's not very good. It just shows you Illinois is not that great either. So looking at them at home against Wyoming, and then you get them on the road at Indiana, it's a whole where's the game at and who they're playing each week. It's a poker game. Every hand's different. And I didn't catch the TCU score late. Okay, so let's get into today's action. Maryland 24, 65 and a half. Michigan's all the way up to 31 and a half. Line has jumped 3 points because of the quarterback battle. Well, you'll start. So McNamara and the other kid. And I don't know, when the other kid's been in there, I'm not impressed. He's more of an option type of runner than he is a thrower, and he's not very good as a passer. And when you play better teams, you can't run on him. You're not going to run out of Ohio State with this kid. So because of that, now the guy goes in. He said, I'm going to throw 10 touchdown passes. I want the job. So that's why the over's there. I'm not sold. I don't know what Colorado State is. I think Michigan probably shuts them out. I don't know how many they'll get. My guess is 45 to, 45-0 would be my guess. Interesting here, UNC App State. App State went to a -2.5 from a +2.5. I don't like App State as a favorite in this game against UNC. This is, they're both from North Carolina. North Carolina's an ACC team. App State's a very good Sun Belt team. It's like a very good MAC team playing, maybe playing Iowa and being favored. I don't know. Well, North Carolina is not a defensive team. They're a weak team last year. They're a better offensive team. This will be interesting. I would think North Carolina 8.5 is BC 7.5 over Rutgers. I like BC there. Nothing changed. NC State 12.5. Went up 10. They're the better team. I hate when they throw these Navy Delawares. Like, don't. Okay, now I'm kind of upset at one of my customers who played a Division II team and she lost, and I'm like, why are you playing Division II? Aren't you listening to my classes? In other words, you don't know the team. What are you doing playing Division II? I very much Division II team, like North Dakota State. They're a pretty good team. But why would you bet them? There's so many other games. Just stick to it. Just play the lock and off you go. Anyway. So let's see. We got UCLA 23.5, 57. There's another one of those games where the over teams playing. What do I got? I got Bowling Green's a W, so they have a weak defense. So that's another one of those games where I like the over team at home. Wyoming, Tulsa, again, drawing from last week. Wyoming's a big dog, but now they're at home against Tulsa. They're going to be mad after a loss. That's not cut and dry. Tulsa is going to beat them. Arizona, San Diego State. San State leans 6.5, like San Diego State there. Oregon, Georgia, 16.5. Over under a 54 is unbelievable. Definitely go under Georgia. Oregon's coach is the defensive coordinator from Georgia. He knows them. He doesn't have the players, and very rarely is the defensive coordinator the reason Georgia had this wonderful defense last year. I think they'll still have a good defense because they rotate in 20 guys. So even if 10 got drafted by the pros, the other 10 are still there. They know the system. They're recruiting X type of player, fast, strong, whatever type they recruited for last year's incredible defense. They're the same type of players are there this year. So I like that game under. UTEP, Oklahoma 30.5. UTEP got pounded by North Texas 31-13. I don't know who Oklahoma is right now. They got Dylan Gabriel from UCF, but he's okay. I don't know that they're a 60-point team as they were with Lincoln Riley. I don't know. So this game, this is a watch. Let's see what Oklahoma looks like. Cincinnati, Arkansas, very good game. Ark minus 6.5, 53.5. It's probably a good under, and probably I like Arkansas because Cincinnati's quarterback's out, which makes the under a good play. So either way there. Houston, UTSA, this game's even. I like the dog. Houston lane 462. Miami, 51 over Bethune-Cookman. Yeah, Van Dyke's going to light it up today, but you can't play 51, and who knows who's on Bethune-Cookman. Troy and Ole Miss 21.5, 57. How good's Troy? I have Troy as an under team. I have Ole Miss as an over team. So how good's Troy? We don't know. You want to lay 21.5? Yeah, maybe Ole Miss needs the game. I'm sure Ole Miss will win, just by how many. BYU, USF, BYU laying 11.5. I like BYU there. Texas State, Nevada. Texas State went from a 10-point dog to a favorite. I just scratch my head with that. I don't buy that for a minute. Nevada, Okay, yeah, they lost last week or no, they beat New Mexico State. Wasn't pretty, but it was the first time the coach and quarterback. So now they get that games like Hawaii. They get that first game out. Now it's here comes now. Okay, let's work on this. Let's get more comfortable and everything. So there'll be a big stride from the first to the second. They're at home, and can Texas State really be a road favorite? Texas State. I got them as a W team. How can a W team be a road favorite to anybody unless it's a Z, and Nevada's not a Z? So I do not like Texas State here. Yeah, I don't think you can bet Nevada, but I would not jump on Texas State because Nevada only beat New Mexico by 15 points. Florida Atlantic, Ohio. I don't know. Florida Atlantic winning 4. Ohio's not bad. Florida Atlantic. I got Ohio as a W, so they don't score a lot. Florida Atlantic put up a big number on Charlotte. Charlotte lost last night to a Division II team, so maybe and I didn't see Reynolds' name. Reynolds must have got knocked out in that first week, which is why they got beat so bad. So without Reynolds, Charlotte is not that good, as we know. So we'll have to check his status every week. So I don't know how good Florida Atlantic is. They're a strong team, but again, in Florida, this game's in Ohio. I don't know. I'm not jumping on Florida Atlantic laying 4 on the road against Ohio. I mean, they're not that good, Florida Atlantic. USC Rice, 32.5 USC. Again, this is a Z team against an over team. I'm assuming their Oklahoma offense with the coach and quarterback will be very similar, and they probably brought some receivers and other players to Oklahoma with this transfer portal. So I think they win big. I think they have to win big. This is my free play today, USC and Ohio State in the teaser. I think USC, they got to win this game by 50 points. There's no if and. This will be like the Tennessee 59-10 game. I don't think Rice scores. I think USC gets at least in the 50s. They're going to pound it because they're new and they got to compete with UCLA for the LA dollar. So this will be very interesting. Utah, 2.5, 51.5 against Florida. I like Utah here. Florida, they're all making a big deal about Florida's quarterback, and he has no stats. He threw like 2 touchdowns and 3 picks in 2 years. All of a sudden, he's a superstar, number 1 draft pick. Anthony Richardson, I don't buy that at all. Rising is much better quarterback by a mile than this guy. So maybe this gets over under 51. So you tease it to 45. I would think it's over, and it's all because Utah is going to put up at least 30 points, and maybe Florida gets 10. But I definitely like Utah. They're way the better team here. Miami, Coastal Carolina, the spread's down to 1.5, started at 4. I don't know. I mean, it's the matchup. Will Army be able to move the ball in Coastal Carolina? Probably. They'll try to run the clock, so McCall doesn't have the ball as much, but McCall will put up his numbers. Again, against Western Kentucky and Wake Forest, Army gave up a lot of points. They gave up 70 to Wake Forest. So I don't know. I can't take Army here. I normally love them as the dog, but not against this team. But I can't really play Coastal Carolina. Maybe go over 53.5 to 47.5. Probably the only way you can play this game. Miami of Ohio and Kentucky. Kentucky's 15. That line, it was a little over 17. Dropped. I don't know who's betting on Miami of Ohio here. I definitely Kentucky's way the better team. Liberty's Southern Miss. Liberty, good coach Hugh Freeze. They got rid of Willis, who I look at it as results. They had a terrible year last year, Liberty. They only won 4 or 5 games, and how good's Willis? If you got a real superstar quarterback, you only win in 3 or 4 games and your schedule. So I don't buy he's all that. We'll see about this new guy is another running option type of quarterback. it all comes down to, can they pass? We know Lamar Jackson can't pass. Willis obviously is not a good passer. We will see about this new kid, but I do like Hugh Freeze, and we'll see. Southern Miss is terrible. This is a game I can't play. I just watch. Maybe it goes over, but Southern Miss is so bad. I got Southern Miss as a W. Liberty is an over. So, yeah, this will probably get over 42.5 in a teaser. UMass Tulane 28.5. UMass over under 58. Tulane is what are they? They're an over team. UMass is a Z team. UMass maybe gets 10, 14 points. Tulane probably gets in the 40s. It's probably more of an over. Hard to lay 28.5, although Tulane is an over team. You just never know. I mean, look at last week with the Connecticut game. The Connecticut as a running back gets 190 yards on Utah State. Like, really? So I don't know that UMass is going to pull a runner out of their ass and all of a sudden he gets 200 yards. But probably an over here with the crap Z teams. Tulane will have a field day scoring, I think. Let's see. Got all this bullshit games. Arkansas State and Grambling. Give me a break. All right. Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State 16.5. It had gone to 17. Over under 59. From an over, well, I'm going to give you the score, and then we'll see how it fits with the spread. Ohio State, I'm going to say 42. Notre Dame 14. Over under 56. So I would say it's probably I can't. Okay, here's the problem. Notre Dame has a new quarterback who has never played before. Wasn't that good because when the guy got hurt last year, he didn't play. The other guy did. You got a coach who's never coached before. You have no idea. I don't know what kind of coach this guy is. Everybody loves him. Why? He hasn't done anything yet. Let's see him at Ohio State. I think Ohio State is mad about losing to Michigan, and that's their calling card the whole year. I look at Ohio State to score early and often against Notre Dame. And when it gets down to it, Notre Dame doesn't have the offense to stay with Ohio State. And Ohio State, good luck defending them, especially at home. Are you going to cover the receivers, cover the running back, or the quarterback? Who are you gonna cover? And then their defense will be all over this new kid. They're going to blitz the hell out of them. Notre Dame will not. They'll be lucky to get 10. Ohio State easily in the 30s, let's say. So call it 30. Call it 33 to 10, and you can lay 10.5 in a teaser. So there you go. Take Ohio State. That's the other free play. Ohio State, USC, the free play today. I don't see how Notre Dame keeps the game close. If they were at Notre Dame, you get the cheating with the refs marking the ball wrong and the fumble that Jimmy Johnson had that wasn't a fumble and all that stuff. But at Ohio is blood in their eyes. And Notre Dame just isn't. You don't know what the coach. Yeah, they'll be excited. Who cares? Ohio State, when it gets down to playing, you can't cover that offense of Ohio State. Notre Dame doesn't have the defense, and Notre Dame doesn't have the quarterback to keep up with him. You're going to hold Ohio State under what, 30 points, really, if you're lucky. Now, I hear a radio show, and the guy, they'll probably run the ball, and it'll be low scoring. And I'm like, dude, did you watch them against Michigan every year? Do they run the ball, and is the game low scoring? No, they put up 50 points on Michigan. Michigan's defense is just as good, if not better, than Ohio State's, than Notre Dame. So, you think their Ohio State game plan. It's all dependent on what Notre Dame does. If they stack the box, they throw. It's as simple as that. There is no game plan. That's why the Ohio State quarterbacks never do good in the pros. They don't learn how to read a blitz. They very rarely see a blitz. It's how many guys on the line dictates if it's a pass or run. Well, you don't do that in the pros. They blitz you, and you got to read the blitz and then check off to a play that does it. They can't do it. They can't do pre-snap reads. They're not taught that. That's why they're never good in the pros. This is a system. Boom. And I definitely like Ohio State big time here. Georgia State, South Carolina. I'm not South Carolina laying 13, 55.5. How the hell do you play South Carolina, even against Georgia State? Georgia State, I have as an even team. So they score 23, 25, 26, and that's what they give up. So they're a fairly decent defense. Rattler stinks. I mean, at Oklahoma, if you can't throw for 500 yards, Oklahoma, you're not a good quarterback in that system. So Rattler, I'm going to have trouble at South Carolina. I doubt he makes the whole year as a starter. So you got really a weak offensive team against a decent team. I think 13 is too many points there. SMU, North Texas. Again, everybody's looking at North Texas from last week against UTEP, 31-13. UTEP was an E team, so we'll see what they are after today. SMU, we know, is explosive as hell. Over under 67, I think, is a bit much. Even though SMU has no defense, I don't know if North Texas has an offense that's really going to bother SMU and keep up with them. So I think SMU's the play here. Utah State, Alabama. This spread went all the way up to 42s, back down to 41, over under 64. There's only one way to play this game, and that's over. 64 down to 58. Alabama, you got to be kidding. Utah State is not that bad a team. Okay, yeah, they played, what did they beat? They beat Connecticut 31-20. The fact Connecticut scored 20 was due to their first quarter runs by the kid. After that, they didn't do anything. And Utah State, believe me, their mind was on Alabama last week, not Connecticut. So now they're against Alabama. Do they have a chance to win? Absolutely not. Are they a bad team? Absolutely not. This would probably be Alabama, let's say, against Florida or maybe Mississippi State. This is like Alabama, Mississippi, good offensive team in Utah State, fairly good. This is a B team, Utah State. And they play their Boise and Fresno State, San Diego State. They play the boys. Alabama laying 41. Now, if they were playing Connecticut, what would the line be? 65? 41. I don't see it, man. You get 47 in Utah State. Utah State's going to put up 20 on them. However, we know Alabama's good for 50. It's an easy over bet. Utah State will not slow Alabama and will score a little bit. But in these type of games, Alabama blitzes you, and they end up getting 2 touchdowns on pick sixes or strip sack fumbles, and then Utah State will score a little bit, and then that'll be it. But you will get over 64 to 58. You'll get over that number, absolutely. Memphis, Mississippi State. Mississippi State lane 17, 57.5. This game's a revenge game. Memphis beat them last time, so Memphis. This is like Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Memphis is a very good team. Laying 17 is a bit much for Mississippi State. 57.5, that's the play. Go over 57.5, go to 51.5. These are 2 over teams. This is Mike Leach. We know he doesn't have defense, and he'll run for 20 yards a game and throw for 500. So this should be a big scoring game. 51.5 that's a 70-point over under at 57.5. It's a bargain. Take that over. Louisville, Syracuse, 5.5. Louisville, 56. I don't know. Syracuse not that bad, especially at home. Could easily pull the upset. Louisville, okay, they got a decent quarterback, but again, I don't know. I mean, Syracuse has a decent defense. What do I got? I got Louisville as an over team and Syracuse is an E. So Syracuse will put up 25 and give up 20. They have a fairly good defense, and they're at home, and they can score. And I like their coach, who was good at Bowling Green. He hasn't done much at Syracuse. That's what happens in the MAC or in these Mountain West. The coach is good, and then he goes. Now he's got to play SEC ball or Big Ten ball or whatever, and you're facing a little different competition, and your skill as a coach isn't there, and you don't do well jumping. That's why you stay. That's why the Central Michigan coach was at Colorado State, McElwain, and he went to Florida and he got booed off the field. And now he's at Central, and guess what? They're explosive again. And he knows how to play in Oklahoma State. So, they put up 44 on a very good defense of Oklahoma State. Shows you how strong Central Michigan's defense is, or offense is. They'll be an over all year. So I don't really know Louisville. I think it'll be a close game. Louisiana Monroe and Texas over team, no defense. Louisiana Monroe's a Z team. Texas laying 37.5, over under 64.5. I don't know if I can trust Texas. They got to win by 31.5. I don't know if they can beat anybody by 31.5. Louisiana Monroe, you can't touch. They're terrible. It's probably Texas, probably gets in the 40s. The question is, will Louisiana Monroe score? And they probably will get something, and it'll be close. It's like the Minnesota game, 38-0. It's exactly what I called, which is unbelievable. But they don't score a lot to lay 38 points. They just happen to get there. Let's see. Boise State, this game is tomorrow. No, it's today, the 2nd. That's the 3rd. So this game's tonight. Oregon State, Boise State, very good game. Superficially looking at it, tease the dog. Oregon State minus 256. They were laying 3.5. So it's come down to 2. I kind of like Oregon State plus 4 here. Boise's okay, but they're not as strong. They got a new coach. And, anytime you got the new coach, I got here, new coach, strong defense. And I got the over marked. And I got play the dog. So I guess this is probably take it over 50. I still like Oregon State plus 4 because they're such a strong offensive team. But you know how Boise is in these games. Normally they pull the upset, but with the new coach, Backenmeyer, their quarterback, I like Luton. I like whoever Oregon State's. It was Luton, but now it's somebody else. I can't think of his name, but he's very good also. So this is definitely, you got 2 good quarterbacks. I think this is an overplay. Kent State, Washington. This is my surprise game. Washington laying 23. Kent over under 59.5. There's no fucking way Washington's 23 points better than Kent. I don't know if they'll even score 23 in the game. Kent is explosive. When we did the video on balance, they have 250 yards rushing and 250 yards passing. A very high power offense. Now, I just talked about Central Michigan, Oak State. Who the hell thought Central with a high power offense is going to get 44 on Oak State? But they got 44 on them. In my balanced offense, let's see. Where's my Mac? So Central's balance was 178 yards rushing, 265 yards passing. They put up 44 on Oklahoma State, who's got a top 10 defense. And then Kent State is 250. What the fuck? How's Washington going to stop this team? And if you don't think Kent State's a good team just because they're in the MAC and they're not Power 5, that's a bunch of bullshit. Washington has no offense. Now they brought in DeBoer, the coach from Fresno State. He was very good there, but he had Hayner, a great quarterback, a top 10 pick, as quarterback. So does he get credit, or was it Hayner? Who's, it's Belichick or Brady? Well, we know it's Brady. So what do you got? Was it Hayner or not? Well, we'll see. They brought in Penix, the quarterback from Indiana, who sucked. And if he couldn't do good at Indiana with that coach, who's a great offensive mind, I don't know what he's going to do at Washington. But I think they'll dumb it down. Major James, hey, how you doing? I think he'll dumb it down, but that's what'll happen. How the hell is Washington? You get 29 in Kent? I would take them probably against everybody but Ohio State because they're explosive. let's say there's a Big Ten game, Kent, Michigan State, Michigan, Penn State, and they're giving them 23. I'd be taking Kent all day. And Washington is not as strong as that. Washington is not a strong team. This is a Kent, 29 points in Kent all fucking day, and then 59.5. I'm worried Washington's going to score enough to get to 59.5 because Kent's going to put up 30 here. I don't know. Washington can score 30. So Washington, if this was Kent UCLA, this would have been lock number one at 59.5. That's a joke. Because you've got basically Kent is an extremely high-powered offense. Washington's not going to stop him. Don James isn't there. This isn't Warren Moon's team. Washington, they'll have a decent defense, but good luck. You're not going to stop a team that runs and passes for 250 yards, a 500-yard total offense in the MAC, which is not, Ben Roethlisberger went to the MAC. Jack Lambert was in the MAC, so don't tell me there's no players. So absolutely, Kent State in 29 all day long, absolutely. Western Kentucky, Hawaii. Western Kentucky 15.5, Hawaii 67.5. This would normally be an over game, but I don't know. Hawaii's going to score. Hawaii put up a whopping 10 on Vanderbilt. Western Kentucky's an over team. They didn't score that much. They scored a little on a Division II team last week. And if this is week 7 or 8, I would be all over the over. I think the over here is too much. 67.5. I don't know. What are you getting from Hawaii today? New coach, new quarterback. Now, struggling against Vanderbilt is different because they're still an SEC team. So when you struggle, you still got SEC players, and they're going to blitz you, which is, I'm sure, what they did. Western Kentucky does not have that skill set to do that. So I look for Hawaii to get a little more comfortable and put up a 20. Western Kentucky, new quarterback. Also, they got to get used to it. In week 6, this is an easy over. Now, I don't think I'm taking this game over 67.5, over 61.5. I don't know what you're going to get out of either team. I say 30-20 probably score, and that's 50. I don't think you're going to get close to 67.5. So this is a watch. The teams are too new. Let's get used to it. LSU 3.5 over Florida State, over under 49.5. Now you got to throw out Florida State's game against Southfield High School. That's my point. They score a lot of points on a Division II team. Just throw it out. It doesn't. It's not. It never happened. It's not. You can't use it in your analysis because you can't say, "Oh, look at Florida State." LSU laying 3.5. I love Brian Kelly. He was great at Ferris State in Michigan. They won all those titles. Then he goes to Central Michigan and he wins the MAC. And then he goes to Cincinnati and he's undefeated. All his teams had very strong offenses and very strong defenses. He goes to Notre Dame. He doesn't do bad. He's limited that he can't bring in some of the players he needed because of scholarships, and the rules at Notre Dame are muddier than the football team. Now, the rules at LSU are not. So the football team has priority over school. So he's got his players. He's got the best receiver in the country, Boucher, by a mile. This guy is unbelievable. He's like 5'9", 180 pounds, super fit. He makes the Alabama receivers look like they're standing still, like a Waddle or these other guys. This guy's incredible. I think LSU has a lot of talent that Kelly will get out. It's his first game. I mean, look at LSU. They were a crap team last year. That's why Kelly's there, but they're laying 3.5. Are you kidding me? So I look for LSU to cover here. I look for them to get the win. In the last game, Clemson 23, Georgia Tech over under 51. I wouldn't touch Clemson laying 23 with anybody's money. They don't have an offense. They're going to run. Their quarterback sucks. I love when these announcers go, well, they were working with the quarterback. Either you know how to throw or you don't. Do you think they work with Joe Montana? Fuck no. Joe Montana knew how to quarterback. Tom Brady knew how to quarterback. It's something in you that you know how to read, you know how to throw, you can feel the defense, you know what's open. You can't be taught it. You can't teach the Clemson quarterback who can't even complete 50% of his passes that now you're a good quarterback. Georgia Tech is a terrible Z team. They have no quarterback. They have no offense. They don't have much of a defense. This game will be a shutout. Clemson will win if you can make these stupid bets on the radio that Clemson's going to shut them out. I would bet that bet. Clemson will shut out, I think, over under 51, let's say 41-0 Clemson, and they're going to run the ball down their throat. Georgia Tech, because their running will stop it. The Clemson's quarterback, maybe 2 touchdowns and his normal 3 interceptions, and Georgia Tech will get nothing. So this will be, I'm putting down 41-0, like I gave you Minnesota 38-0, and I hit it right on the nose. And if you don't believe me, listen to the video I did the other day. So this game's definitely an under. So those are all the games. Obviously, I didn't pick all the games. I have 5 teasers going this weekend. The one I already won is actually I have 4. I had one last week. Charlotte, Utah State. Charlotte over 1. Utah State, of course, lost. Then I've got 4 going today. 1 lock teaser. First part of the lock, Tennessee laying, I think it was 25. Easy win, 59-10. I love those games at halftime. You're up 35-0, you're laying 20, whatever. So we have that. The free picks, Ohio State and USC. Please, the reason I tell you to be careful with these radio idiots, they're really not trying to help you win. They're trying to get that. Hey, Alex, how are you? What's the plays? The free plays, Ohio State, USC. I have a lot going. That was part of it was with Tennessee on Thursday, which was an easy lock. And then I just went through all the games. I've got a total of 4 teasers, 1 lock, and half the lock is Tennessee. So I've got those. But I do have Ohio State and USC. That's a free teaser for you. Should be a big week. Again, Clemson 41-0 will be that pick. But there's some good games. I might add a game. I might add Kent State to the mix. I don't have Kent State played, but after talking, I think I like it. Tennessee was easy money, and the other part of the lock should be the same thing. Again, what are we looking for? We were looking for an over team, Tennessee, playing a weak team, and what was it, Ball State. Ball State couldn't score. They had a new quarterback. They didn't have much defense. Tennessee's explosive. That's what you're looking for is the art of war. We're looking for the weak teams. When do the upsets happen? By the strong defense. That's what you got to look out for. The Iowas, Wisconsin. That's what Michigan goes to Iowa in a few weeks. That's what you got to be afraid of is Iowa's defense, Wisconsin's defense. Tonight, all right, Ohio State. I am not worried about Notre Dame's defense. There's no way in hell they're going to stop Ohio State. The only defense I would be scared about with Ohio State would be Georgia's and Clemson. Those are the cream defenses this year. Georgia, I think, will still be an under 10 team. By that, I mean points, as will Clemson. You're going to be lucky to get 10 points on Clemson. 6 All-Americans. All-Americans, not like in the count. Like sometimes I'm looking in the conference and, Baylor's got 3 Big 12 All-American, Big 10, Big 12 players. Clemson's got 6 fucking All-Americans. They're just fucking loaded. No offense, just a running back. This is going to be my Georgia under this year. Thoughts on Michigan, Giller? I'm wondering if College State will score more than 10. I don't know. It's a new. I've got them as a. They got a new coach and a new quarterback. The coach is coming in with a Mike Leach. He's a Mike Leach assistant, so they're going to throw the ball all around. You've lost Hutchinson and the other guy who were the sack guys. So was it they were that good, or was it the type of defensive scheme that let them in, that me and you could have got 10 sacks because it's the system? He's moved back to Baltimore, their defensive coordinator. They got a new defensive coordinator. So is Michigan been able to get to the passer? That's the question. We don't know. Colorado State's going to run the Texas Tech offense. So I would think that they can score some point during the game, may it be the fourth quarter. I think they put up 14 points somewhere along the line. I'm not quite sure. If it was more like a running offense, I could say, well, they're going to get shut out. But when you pass the ball in a Mike Leach offense, I assume you're going to get 14 points at some point, especially the first game, because what happens is they're not in shape. And this is what's going to happen next week in the NFL for the next 2 weeks in the NFL. They're not in game shape. They are in practice shape, and game shape is a whole different ball of wax. So Michigan is not in game shape. Colorado State, I think they played somebody last week, but it's easier to be throwing the ball. I think the receivers can get in game shape better than the defensive linemen in the secondary. And, it's harder because you got to react where the receiver knows where he's going. So from that standpoint, I think that Michigan, they're going to run it down their throat, and they're going to take the time off. This whole quarterback controversy. So you got McCarthy going. Is he going the whole game? If they're up 42-0, is he still going? If it becomes close, is he still going? Or are you going to bring in the other kid in the fourth quarter, and then he's going to try to score because he wants the job? All I know is Steve Young, Joe Montana. You cannot have two quarterbacks. It divides the team. The team does not win with two quarterbacks. Okay, Montana, you're in there. Okay, Young, you're in there. And they did that 1 year, and they ended up going back to Montana, and then they won 2 more Super Bowls. So you cannot fuck around with the quarterback. He's the position that you're better than him. You're the quarterback. Look at Ohio State a few years ago. Both their quarterbacks got hurt. They bring in the other guy. I can't think of his name because he only played in 3 games. Comes in, wins the 2 playoff games. They win the national title. The next year, they start him, and he sucks. And they had to go back to, I think it was JT Barrett or TJ Barrett. And they lost. They lost a lot of games that year because they had indecision of the 2 quarterbacks. You cannot do that. You have to have one quarterback. The only time was like Tebow type, where we're bringing in Tebow on 3rd and 1 or at the goal line strictly to run, not to pass, because we knew Tebow couldn't pass anyway. And that's really the only time it works, is if he's in there as a running quarterback. And that's his only role, is to get the 3rd and 1s and 4th and goals and stuff. Then you can have 2 quarterbacks. Not at the 20-yard line, and he's going to throw or pass. You cannot have 2 quarterbacks, because the team will back one, and then you get the bickering. Well, he should be quarterback. No, he should be quarterback. It doesn't work. It's never worked. Didn't work with fucking Montana at San Francisco. It ain't going to work here. So you've got to – the kid won you – he got you to the playoff, wins the Big Ten, and you're dicking around with him. He's obviously a good fit for the team. That's the guy I would have as my quarterback until he threw 5 interceptions. But again, you look at Miami and you look at Utah last year, and they had shit quarterbacks the first 3 weeks. Then what did they do? They bring in Van Dyke and they bring in Rising, and they don't lose again. And that's the point. You've got to, well, Utah lost the Rose Bowl, but they put up 100 points and covered the over, which was all we were worried about. So, I mean, you got to play your best quarterback, whoever it is. That's the guy you got to play. Up to you as a coach, Jim Harbaugh, who used to play quarterback in the NFL and who had Andrew Luck. If you can't spot talent, nobody can. So if you can't tell who the better quarterback is, you got a problem, because it shouldn't be that difficult. So I'm going to take Michigan like 42-14, maybe somewhere in there. So will it get over? I don't know. They run too much and they have too good of a defense to really start betting Michigan over. Colorado State, you get 36 points. Yeah, that's probably a good way to go because they're going to an air raid offense. They will find 14 points, be it late in the fourth quarter. I don't see Colorado State quitting and not throwing the ball when that's all they're going to do. Now, Michigan's normally pretty good against a one-dimensional passing offense, and it could shut them out. I let's say 7 points. So will Michigan, well, if you're laying 30, if you tease it to 24, probably a pretty good play. But again, without the pass rushers, I'm sure they replaced them, and then we'll see if it's the scheme. But a lot of unknowns today. How good's Colorado State? How good's the quarterback? I mean, you're in an air raid. You can't go to an air raid without a quarterback and good linemen and good receivers. So I assume they have that. So I assume they'll move the ball on Michigan a little bit. Anyway, so if you're buying this week, it's just college, $75. You want the month is $300. If you want the year, I'm giving a discount. So it's normally like $1,100. I'm $750 because of this economic bullshit. If you listen to my economic videos, you'll understand all the inflation and everything. So a guy like Alex, who's a regular customer, it'd be $650 for the whole year till the Super Bowl. You get all the locks and all the picks. So if you want that, you can do that. We can work something out there. www.teaserking.com. So again, I've got Ohio State, USC. I've got a lock with Tennessee and somebody, and I got 2 other plays. And I guess that's it. So again, line changes. Let's see. So Oklahoma's gone down a little bit. Ohio State went all the way up to 17, back down to 16.5. I think they're going to murder them, I think. Kent State. Now that Washington money's going on them. I'd like Kent State there. I might add them to the mix. I do not have them bet yet, but it's a night game. And so people who have bought, when I get the feel, I would, after doing this show, I could say, you know what, I really like Kent State in 29.5, especially after what Central did to Oklahoma State, putting up a 44 on them. I like the game over. I thought about taking Central in the 26 points, but I just said, no, they might not score that much. And there you go. They put up 44. They have an explosive offense. So does Kent. So that's a 250 running and 250 passing. The only teams like that are Baylor, Oak State, Oregon State, Ohio State that are so freaking balanced. I mean, to the yard, 250. Yeah, you can't stop that because you don't know how to defend it. You put 8 in the box, they throw. You put 7 in the box, they run. You can't defend it, and they know how to do both very well. They're a very explosive team, Kent State. If Kent State gets the W today, do not be surprised. They pull a 31-30 win over Washington. I would actually expect that, not be surprised by it. Hey, G, I can't freaking tease USC. Well, you got to get a teaser thing. Yeah, just play them straight. When you get these big lines like we had with Tennessee, and just play it straight and do not play Division II games. Shame on you. You cannot play a team you don't know. I know Division I. I do not know, the Citadel and Central Indiana. You can't bet on those teams. Just stick with the plays I give you. Well, then play USC straight or put them in a parlay. Put USC with Ohio State in a parlay. You can do that. Go find a book that gives you teasers. Fortunately, in college, these bigger spreads really don't need a teaser. It helps. Probably in the other, like Ohio State, I would probably want a teaser there to get it down. But, like Penn State getting 29 and a half, 30 points. I want as much as I can with Kent State, but of course, when the game's over is when oh, I didn't need the teaser. My brother always did that to me. I'd tease the game and it would win. And he said, well, you didn't need the teaser. And I go, well, yeah, but you got to bet before the game. You can't bet after the score. Oh, okay, look, it's final. Now I want to bet on the team. Now I want to bet on Tennessee because the game's final. Well, yeah, but you're betting now when we don't really know what we assume what's going to happen. We don't know for sure. Although I'm pretty damn good at knowing what's going to happen, but still. So, go to Bulldog, whatever you got to do. Alex does 5 dimes, which I hate because they do teaser lines. So a -7's a -9. Unless you're going the other way, then you get 15. But you need to find a teaser sports book or go to the bowling alley and find a bookie in the bowling alley. So go to Bovado, they do teasers. Alex is we very well respect Alex, and if he says he does it, 5 dimes, good. I'm glad you got away from 5 dimes. We can do 5-team teasers again, Alex. So yeah, that's definitely go there, go to Bovado. If Alex says he uses it, I'm sure he gets paid off. I'm sure he gets good lines and not too much of juice. So sign up for that, unless you, like I said, go to the bowling alley or go to the poker room. Why don't you go to the poker room? You're in Florida and see where, whatchamacallit, what's that guy's name? Mike Mizrachi. And go ask him who's his book, or maybe he'll book for you, and then go find a book there. I just hate how Bovado uses crypto to pay out. Well, you have a choice. They don't have to do crypto. Just go to the football bet teasers and tell them you want cash. I'm sure there's a cash option. You don't have to take crypto. I don't have crypto. I would never buy crypto. I'm going to get paid out I want to get paid out in gold and silver. I don't want to get paid out in useless US dollars, but that's another thing. So keep that in mind. Go to Bovado, and just open an account. Say you want US dollars and get paid in US dollars, and then you can bet your teasers. But that's, get rid of this guy. If he doesn't do teasers, what's the point of going to the guy? That's like going to the grocery store and you want steak and they don't have it. Well, I guess I got to go to a different grocery store. So just do that, go to Bovado and get the fuck away from this guy, unless you can find a bookie at the poker room, Mike Mizrachi, the Grinder. Go to the Grinder's poker room and go to the Grinder, who's your football bookie, and make sure you give him my name so he starts betting with me. And go there. I mean, that's all you got to do. There's bookies all over, especially in poker rooms and bowling alleys. All right, so that's it. Again, free pick, USC. They're going to win by 50. Ohio State, big win over Notre Dame. Because Notre Dame's got a new coach and a new quarterback, you need experience. Look at the Detroit Lions. Every fucking year, it's a new coach. Patricia, never coached before. Campbell, never coached before. This is why Ford is probably the worst company in the world, because they hire CEOs who've never been a CEO before. Go run my company. Oh, I don't know what to do. I mean, I should be running the damn company. Okay, well, I want to see you make money here. I don't want you to bet these Division II games, and then I give you Tennessee's the lock. You should have made a fortune on it. So bet the lock accordingly today. If you want, then do a 3-team with Ohio State, USC, and the lock. And I love the lock today. It's going to be huge. And that's it. So, again, Kent State, I don't see how they're going to lose by 30. And it'll be interesting, Alabama, Utah State. I'm not betting this game. I don't have the balls to take Utah State, but Utah State 48 points. Utah State, you're worried about Colorado State, Alex. I guarantee you Utah State puts up 17 on Alabama. I mean, that game's such an over at 61. You go 55, Alabama will probably get there by themselves. Utah State will push in about 20. I mean, it's Arkansas State basically at Utah State, and they're loaded, good quarterback and good receivers. They're gonna score on Alabama. I mean, it's the Steeler defense, but the Steeler defense can handle the passing. I was watching an 81. I was like, okay, what happened to the Steelers in 1980? Why did they fall off? Well, they lost Mike Wagner and Joe Green barely played. I still saw Franco Harris Swan Star. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did they fall off? And it was all, I guess, Mike Wagner and Joe Green. So once they lost them, they couldn't replace them, and they just fell. But they played the 49ers in a regular season game in 1980, the year the Niners went to the Super Bowl, right? So that was 80. No, you had Oakland, Philly. So it was the next year. And the Niners beat them, and they couldn't handle Montana. That defense, with everybody there but Wagner and Green, couldn't handle Montana. That's Alabama's problem, right? Now they're going to this passing offense, and Alabama's still sitting in the 74 Steeler defense and can't handle the Montana offenses. That's why Alabama's not as strong. So when they get a weaker running, that's not Utah State. Utah State is explosive as hell. The only reason they put up 31 on Connecticut, in the third quarter, they got the ball at their own 1 and their own 5, and they couldn't. They drove to midfield. That's why they didn't put up 48 on them. So that's skewing this line. Plus, I guarantee you, their thought was Alabama next week, not Connecticut this week. Although they did shut them down after the first quarter. So Utah State's a B team. They're not a Z. They're not a terrible team. They're a pretty good team. They're going to give Alabama all they want, a lot more than you think they're going to give them. So, again, those are your games. Any questions, comments? Who do I like? So I basically go through the video, and I've given you basically every pick on every game. I didn't bet every game. They're not all my picks, but it's, what I like BYU and USC, and be careful with Army, Coastal Carolina. That'll be a great game. Utah, Florida, like Utah there. Kentucky over Miami of Ohio. SMU, North Texas should be a good game. Over in the Mississippi State, Memphis should be a lot of points. So again, that's how I see it. And again, Thursday was unbelievable. Tennessee was the lock over Oklahoma State Central, Purdue home dog over Louisiana Tech, Missouri, and I nailed the Minnesota game 38-0. So that was a very good day. Yesterday, Michigan State, they had trouble with Western, and that's what we're worried about here. I mean, Michigan State, I was listening on the way home from the store, and they got 3 guys in the secondary injured on 3 straight plays in their wide receiver. They lost 4 guys in 5 minutes on 4 plays. Utah in the swamp is going to be interesting. Well, I'm not worried about it. The Florida's not that good. They don't have a good quarterback. It's a new coach, the kid from Louisiana Lafayette. And he's went down in quarterback. He had Levi Lewis, was extremely good, and they were an A team in the Sun Belt. This is his first SEC game, and he gets to go against Rising in Utah. I love Rising. Utah will score on them early and often, and I'm not worried about the heat. And Utah played some interesting team in the Rose Bowl called Ohio State, and it was 48-45. So they can play with Ohio State. They will, Florida's not that good. If this is Georgia, it'd be a different story, or Alabama or LSU this year. So you're going to watch the SEC is going to be Georgia, Alabama, LSU are all going to be right there. Look for LSU to play much stronger. Did I watch? No, I didn't watch it. I didn't Shroud play the full game. Lewis sucks. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is Shroud? Is he the quarterback for TCU? Lewis, I don't know. I have to look at the box score for you, G, but this is why you got bad coaches. This is why we bet against coaches, because the coaches suck and we bet against the quarterback for Colorado. Well, Colorado sucks this year. They're a Z team. So I'm not surprised. I don't know what was the final. I saw it was like 7-6. I went to sleep. So let's see. 38-13 TCU. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I'd have thought it would have been worse. Now, Kansas put 6 on Tennessee Tech. You got to ignore it. One thing, Kansas scores 56, but against a high school team, you got to erase that from your stats, right? So I will erase 56-10. And then when I look at Kansas, I'm looking at them against Big 12 competition. I don't want to see, because it skews it. Then they scored 10 points against the rest of the league, but they got the 56, and you think they scored 28, and they really scored 20. So that's a perfect game to throw off your stat line, is that. Indiana 23-20. Yeah, that's what I tried to warn you about. Duke 30-0. Shows you how bad. I don't think Temple had a first down. I mean, they were just pathetic. Duke's not good. They went to a running, passing quarterback, like a Willis or like Lamar Jackson, but apparently he can throw. Charlotte lost to William and Mary. Now that red flag there, when you lose to the Division II team, there's a problem. But Reynolds didn't play their superstar quarterback, so he must be hurt. If he's hurt, you can't take Charlotte. Then we're going to bet against them. Eastern 42-34, Eastern Kentucky. Old Dominion pulls the upset over Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's not very good this year, and apparently Old Dominion's okay. And then Michigan 35-13 was struggling with Western, who's okay. They're not. If Central would have played Michigan State, Central gets the W. Kent against Michigan State, it's a 3-point game. And it just shows you you can't get into the brand name. You got to get into the team. So, again, look for Kent State to put up a number. What else? Any other questions? So, again, your free pick, Ohio State, lay the 10.5, and USC, lay the 26. And USC will be over by halftime. They'll be in the 50s. Ohio State, a nice easy 38 to – I don't think Notre Dame scores in this game. I think it's a shutout. I don't know. Maybe Notre Dame fine. They don't have a quarterback. What are you going to do in Columbus without a quarterback? How are you going to score? What are you going to run the ball at Ohio State? Good luck. They don't have the running attack or the runner to do that. They don't have a quarterback who's going to scare the defense into playing pass and letting the running, we'll only have 5 in the box. You can't do anything. You don't have a running back. So this is, and Ohio State's pissed off. They lose to Michigan the next year. You don't want to play them. So I think that's it. Let me quickly rewind. So BC over Rutgers, Ohio State, Louisville, Syracuse, we'll watch. Texas, we're not sure by how much over Louisiana Monroe, but Louisiana Monroe sucks. Kent State, Washington, I'm calling Kent State in the 30 there. Maryland, Buffalo, should be an over game. NC State, App State, I like the dog there. They made App State the favorite, 2.5. You got to be kidding me. I think North Carolina is pretty pissed about that. Look for them to play a good game. Michigan, we talked about. NC State, East Carolina. I like NC State. UCLA, Bowling Green. I like UCLA. Cincinnati, Arkansas. Very good game. I like the under there because Cincinnati's got a strong defense, no quarterback. Ritter's gone, no running back. Ford's gone. Ohio State coach, he's going to play defense. So, but I love Arkansas. They're going to win, and I love their quarterback. Jefferson is a very strong quarterback. UTEP, Oklahoma. We're watching Oklahoma. We don't know who the hell they are this year with a defensive coach. Why would you go to a defensive coach? So is he going to run the ball and play defense? Don't know. How many guys transferred to USC with the coach? This I don't know. How bad Utah? This I don't know. They're not a Z team. Arizona, San Diego State. I think San Diego State. Georgia, Oregon. In Atlanta, not in Oregon. And I'm taking Georgia's defense again for a change. Utah State and or Houston, UTSA. I think it's a dog game. Two good A teams playing. Like Frank Harris, UTSA. Houston's got Holgerson, the coach from West Virginia, who's a very bright offensive mind. So this game probably goes over, and I like the dog. Tulsa, Wyoming. I don't trust Tulsa, and Wyoming, after getting embarrassed, will play a very good game, and they're at home, and they're a dog. Don't be surprised if Wyoming gets the W. BYU over South Florida. Mississippi over Troy. Florida Atlantic. Ohio's interesting because it's not in Miami. Let's see how good Ohio is. I don't trust Florida Atlantic. Beat Charlotte without their quarterback. How strong are they? They got the old Miami quarterback, Perry, but I don't know. I don't know. They're at Ohio. Ohio could, wouldn't surprise me if they won. USC, we just talked about, by 50 over Rice. Army, Coastal Carolina, very tough. The line's moved on Army now. It's Coastal Carolina -1. I think I go over 54. I can't. It's hard to take Army as a dog in this situation against Coastal Carolina and McCall, best quarterback in the country. Well, him and Rising and Van Dyke. I can't. I don't want to, because Wake Forest put up 70 on the Army last year, and Western Kentucky put up 34 on them. So the difference is Army's quarterback's gone, who would do all these 70-yard runs. I never seen anything like it. I'd look at the box score, and Anderson, 75-yard run, 60-yard run, 70-yard run, like for Army. And that's what, and they were such a big over team. So we'll see Army this year, different quarterback, but I think at this point it's an over. Liberty, Southern Miss, who knows? Utah, I think, beats Florida. I think it's an over. Kentucky, I think, beats Miami of Ohio. They're a very good team, Kentucky. SMU, North Texas. I don't know that it gets to 68. I think that's a big number because I don't know how much North Texas is going to score. I know SMU will put up 40 easily on it. So it should be a high-scoring game, but I think SMU gets the win. Mississippi State, Memphis go over. Utah, Alabama, very interesting. Utah State 48. I think that covers. I do not bet against Alabama unless I have Georgia, which I did in the championship game. I had Georgia. Look at the video. That's the only time I'll bet against Alabama. You better have a top one defense like a Georgia, maybe Clemson. Well, Clemson doesn't have a quarterback, so they can't beat Alabama. The only team I would take is Georgia, maybe LSU with Brian Kelly, but 48 points, Jesus Christ, that's going to cover. Boise, Oregon State, I like the over there. LSU, Florida State, LSU gets the W, and Clemson, Georgia Tech, 41-0 Clemson. They will shut them out. But I don't trust the Clemson quarterback, so I think that's also an under. Anyway, that's about it. NFL, not worth mentioning until, why do they have a bye? What the fuck are they buying? I don't understand the bye. They don't play in the preseason anyway. They're certainly not in game shape. I'm so tired of them worrying about injury. You know how many injuries you're causing by not playing the guys the first 3 games? And now having a bye, and then week 1, okay, guys, you're going to play 60 minutes of pro football at 100% speed. Are you kidding me? That'd be like me walking out. Okay, you got to do a 10-mile run. First of all, I don't run. Secondly, I would do 2 miles, then 4 miles, then 6, and then gradually get up to 10 and do that for a few months. Then I could do a 10-mile run. If you said go do a 10-mile run today, right now, I'd get a mile if I'm lucky, and it'd be walking. So you want these guys to come out and play a full game in the pros? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going to bet under on 99% of the games is going to be an under bet, especially Jacksonville and the Bears. are going to be unders because there's no timing with the quarterbacks. Half the quarterbacks suck. I named you 5 quarterbacks in college that are better than these guys in the pros, and there's going to be no timing, and you're going to have more pulled hamstrings and ACLs and ankle injuries the first 2 weeks than if you would have played preseason. And oh my God, the guy got hurt in a meaningless game. Well, how about guys that get hurt coming out of the shower? That happened. I can't remember the guy. A guy was getting out of the shower, hurt his back. He didn't play. Well, what are you going to do? Not let him take a shower? I mean, injuries happen. It's football. Football is contact. You're going to get injuries. You can't baby these guys. Now none of the teams are ready. Week 1 and week 2 in the pros are a nightmare because you have no idea. All you do is you bet on Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You can't bet Drew Brees anymore. You take Mahomes. Maybe you take Russell Wilson, and that's it. I mean, you got 4 quarterbacks in the league that are any good. And that otherwise, it's how good are the runners in the defense, and nobody can play a full game, which is going to be, that's why I like the unders, because the quarterback receiver timing is going to be 0. Even Brady, all right, Gronk maybe, but he's got a little bit more. But he did play the 3rd preseason game, by the way, where a lot of these teams didn't play it, and so the pros are going to be a nightmare the first 2 weeks anyway. But there's your game. So www.teaserking.com. It's about to start the noon games. Go by the week. You can buy the month. You can buy the year. The year I'll give a discount for an Alex or somebody who's been with me before. Return customers. Otherwise, it's $750, which is normally $1,100, $1,200. You can buy the week for, now I would buy college. It's $75. Normally college and pros $125 for the week, $300 for the month. And then, like I said, $650 for the whole year through the Super Bowl, all the locks, all the plays. So have a good day, everybody. Good luck. Let's go USC. Let's go Ohio State. Let's go my lock and my few other picks. Georgia under should be pretty standard this year. I still think rotating in all the guys will be nothing. So any other questions or comments, please let me know. Otherwise, let's go watch some football. I'll come on tomorrow. We'll recap what we saw today. And that's about it. Okay. Have a nice day today. Good luck. I hope everybody makes money on USC, Ohio State. Okay. Take care.